Hi there, and welcome to Geeks Assembled again. We're at it again, and today we are all gathered to discuss a 2017 remake, reboot. What do you want to call it? Or is it a fresh take on what has gone before? We are talking Spider-Man: Homecoming. Yes, yet another superhero movie, but well, let's see what these guys think of in their first thoughts, opening thoughts. So we'll go to Stephen. I think he watched it today, so we'll go to Stephen first.
Yes, I did, Lee. I watched it this afternoon.
Yeah.
Wasn't what I was expecting. It was very good. I really enjoyed it. Plenty of action in it. I was gonna turn it off at 1:26 because I thought, oh no, please don't fall in love with that girl, for goodness sake. I thought if it happens, I'm turning it off and I'm watching the rest of the movie. But thank God it didn't. It would have spoilt the bloody film. Excellent. Michael Keaton was brilliant in it. He played a really good baddie in it. I like the interaction between Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Mm.
Yeah, very good. I really enjoyed it. Didn't realize how long it was. I think it was over 15 minutes.
About 2 hours 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was quite surprised with it when I watched it, but I'll come to that when I start to talk. Brian, you've got it in your hand, haven't you? The DVD and Blu-ray I'm on about. Yes, you.
Yes.
Yes. So, what was your what's your opening thoughts on this movie?
It's the Target exclusive. Well, what I thought. Let's see. I thought that this was really, really good. I really enjoyed this film. Well, when it was this Spider-Man movie, it's back to its original core and roots and everything. It's in that Sony.
Yeah.
Considering that it's not just Sony, it's Marvel. It got its rights to Marvel, so it's back to its original core and roots. I love that how Michael Keaton was in it. Come on, you can't get a better actor than Michael Keaton to be in a Spider-Man movie, and no less a villain. Who he played the Vulture, for that matter. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Hell, Robert Downey Jr. would be in anything with Marvel. Like the Prince of Marvel films whenever he plays Iron Man. He'll be in anything. And honestly, I can't see anybody playing that role anyone else besides Han Solo. So I enjoyed him being in the film. This new actor that played Spider-Man, I really enjoyed him playing Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man when he's still a rookie and when he's still first starting as Spider-Man. I mean, from when we saw him in Captain America Civil War, he's only had his Spider-Man powers for 7 to 6 months. And with the film, they don't have an origin story, but it's without the origin story, and he's had the powers for at least 6 or 7 months now. So it's a whole good. It's a good thing that they don't have an origin story because we've seen it over and over again, twice as a matter of fact within the past 2 films with Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man. So it's a good thing that they put the whole nonsense of an origin story again and just go on to Stranger Call, like where he has the powers for 6 or 7 months. So yeah, I honestly enjoyed this film, and I couldn't love it enough. It's a truly good Marvel Spider-Man film.
Oh, cool, cool. I agree with you there, Brian. I didn't want another origin story. If I had to sit through another Uncle Ben death scene, I'd have screamed. Kevin. Yes, you,
Yes,
Kevin.
I only seen this movie once because the Blu-ray is not out over here. So, bloody Americans. Well, when I saw this film with my brother, and man, this is a very good Spider-Man movie next to Spider-Man 2. The post-credit scenes already gave something away for the sequels, like Scorpion. And man, the Vulture in the direction in the theater when Vulture was Liz dad, everyone was like, "What?" And then that talk with "I'm going to kill you and everybody you love if you don't stop it." Oh well. And the action scenes were great. It's just a rookie Spider-Man, I love that. He isn't like Tobey Maguire. 10 out of 10. I can do anything. And I really love this movie. So,
Wow, it was a lot of
up
love.
to Infinity War.
Yeah, a lot of love coming towards this movie now, but it could all change now because we're going to go to Alex soon. They're too comfy on that new love, but that's what it is. Just get too comfy and the false.
Excuse me. We're not too comfortable. We're just comfortable enough. It's just fantastic to have a new reclining sofa thing. Anyway, great movie, fun. I don't know. I liked it. Glad it didn't have the whole origin story in it. But I enjoyed. I do have a beef about it. It was Aunt May was too young, and the whole thing with him being in high school and then sneaking out at night was, it just and then skipping school. I mean, he's trying to join a group of adults in their adult world doing adult things, and it's a little much. But anyway, I liked it a lot. Here you go.
Well, at first I didn't like this movie. I understand. I mean, what is there about? There's probably about 9 versions of Spider-Man now. Unfortunately, the last 18 odd years, it's been too many, like the Incredible Hulk. You had the 60s cartoon, which was great and great theme song, except they used the same scenes 500 times in a row. And it was the 60s. Of course, they didn't have the budget. The 70s version was one of the people from The Sound of Music and the Brady Bunch. Unfortunately, it was 1977, and they couldn't get good casting in a lot of it, and the stories were very slow, and the special effects were worse, even though I like it. Then they had the 80s and 90s cartoons. Most of them were good, actually. And I think that's the other problem with Spider-Man is it's really not a lot of fun if you don't see him fighting people or swinging or wisecracking or whatever. And I think that's the problem with the movies is that they were trying to be everything and can't really do that. The Tobey Maguire movies I liked until you got to number 3. Too much going on in that movie. Like Steven says, too much romance in the Tobey Maguire movies. Even though they did a wonderful job with the web slinging and the climbing and all that other stuff. The Garfield, who was also in Doctor Who, he's not a bad actor, but the Spider-Man was just ridiculous. I barely enjoyed those movies. Another origin story. I mean, who hasn't heard of the Spider-Man origin story at this point? Come on. Yeah, and even though it had a good cast, the writing and the direction and what they focused on. It's just like they should have called it the flip side of Tobey Maguire, or we're remaking it because we didn't like the Tobey Maguire version. This one and what was it, the Civil War where Spider-Man was in? I mean, that's pretty much what you know Spider-Man for, just like the Incredible Hulk. You don't want 10,000 years of backstory and subplots and things that just slow the movie down. You watch the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man for what they can do as superheroes. You don't want to watch just a sad, melancholy story about how they feel guilty. Part of it, yes, you can use. I understand that, but not the whole thing, not 90%. You got to be in the action. That's what they're there for. They're not there to be melancholy all the time. When you get back to the movie, it is a little too politically correct. It is too many young actors, but they were trying to redo it. They were trying to reboot it, and I understand that they know that they got tons of complaints for the subplot and the origin story and the romantic story, so they're trying to redo it. Except for Michael Keaton, who was good, and Marissa Tomei is actually a good actress. And Robert Downey Jr. was always a good actor. He just wasn't given credit because of all the movies he was in the 80s and then the real life drug battle and all that other stuff. He's great in the movie. Holland is great in the movie. Marissa Tomei is too young, but she's great in the movie. It is nice that they have a couple of other, people of mixed race. In the comic books, though, they didn't have too many. They had a couple, but it wasn't too many. And the Spider-Man, like the Superman, they changed from decade to decade, and it became more, it depends on what the writers wanted to do. But considering, except for Spider-Man 1 and 2 of Tobey Maguire, this is probably a good mix. And again, you want to turn your mind off. You don't want to get all heavy and emotional and all that. But Michael Keaton was very good. Again, just like Robert Downey Jr., not given a lot of credit in the 80s when they started out. And now they're given a lot of credit. And, I mean, those scenes in the car, that was very scary. And he's talking to, Peter Parker. And, I said, yeah, now this is how it's supposed to be. Not too much menace, but just enough to scare you, to unsettle you. So yeah, overall, it is a good movie. It has its faults, but it is a good movie, and it is a better version than the Garfield one.
Thanks for that, Alex. Daniel, if you're still with us, your opening thoughts on Homecoming?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I think the movie sucks. Tobey Maguire is my only Spider-Man. This movie sucks. I hated it so badly. It put me to sleep. I was the only person in the theater snoring. Everybody can hear me snoring. This movie sucks.
Right. I'm glad you liked it.
I don't even remember a lot of it. I just like, I hated it.
Oh, right. Well,
the only thing I liked about it was Michael Keaton. That was the only thing I liked about it. And oh my God. I mean, it was bad. I hope they do a Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions movie where they get all the Spider-Mans from all the different universes.
Well, that might just be a bit confusing. It might be a bit confusing in the movie world, for the general fans who just go to the cinema. But I'm sorry that you didn't like it. But you can't like everything, I suppose. Yeah, which is good because these casts I'm glad that people have different of opinion, which is good. Okay. Craig's here with us.
Oh, hi,
hello.
Craig. How you doing?
I just had a coughing fit. Hello.
We're talking Spider-Man: Homecoming. What's your opening thoughts on that movie, Craig?
My opening thoughts are I liked it. I like how they based it more on the original stuff. Like even keeping the yellow, the yellow jacket he was wearing, like just things like that. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good movie.
Great stuff. For me, as I said before, I'm glad it wasn't an origin story because I got fed up with the origin stories. It went straight into the thing, and I like the way they sort of went back to Peter Parker being a teenager student because that's what he was in the comic with, and I'm glad there was no Daily Bugle there and Jameson. They didn't go down that route.
I,
You know,
that's
them.
what-
Yeah,
I agree with you, Lee, because it wasn't like there was no oh, I'm an orphan and everyone's dying and da da da. It was just let's just focus on this character's actual
Yeah.
life.
yeah.
And I like there was some funny bits in it as well. It was witty, even with
Well,
his best friend. Like that, I thought that was quite. I laughed a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with the comedy, it sort of went back to the comic books because the comedy is in the comic books of Spider-Man, and I think this is what was missing from the previous Spider-Man movies was the comedy because there wasn't much in them. I think they took themselves too seriously. You've got to remember, Spider-Man is a teenage lad, and in this movie, if it could go wrong, it did go wrong at the wrong time, and that was good thing about it, as you say, Michael Keaton as the Vulture. What a brilliant actor! I mean, everybody knows him as Batman, but now he's playing a villain. Brilliant. But also, I suppose you get there was 4 villains in this. To be honest, you had Shock. Yes, you had. You had the Vulture. You had Shocker. You had Scorpion, and you had the Tinkerer.
Scorpion and the Tinkerer.
Yeah.
I only counted the Shaco and Vulture.
The Tinkerer was the one who was creating all the gadgets, and also Scorpion. He was the guy with the scorpion tattoo on his neck.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't even know
Pay
that.
attention.
I didn't even
Pay
know
attention.
that. I thought it was just local henchmen for the Super Vulture.
No, because if you listen to the name who said his name, that's the character who plays Scorpion in the comic book. So he's going to change into the Scorpion sooner or later.
And I also just want to say, I hate that they killed Shaka, like Vulture killed Shaka. That's a little bit that I didn't really like.
Yeah, but you didn't. You've got another Shocker.
They did.
There was a brand new Shocker in it. He gave him the glove and said, "You're Shocker now."
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought did you watch this?
I did. I forgot.
But yeah, but I agree with what Susan says. Aunt May was far too young.
She wasn't.
She was. Aunt May should be older than that.
How well Lee would do her.
Now. Calm down, boys.
I'm sure. Yeah, she's younger, and
it just didn't seem right for Aunt May to be that young in the movie.
Marissa Tomei is younger and attractive than the other Aunt Mays. So what? She was a good actress and a good Aunt May to be in the film.
Yeah, I'm not knocking her acting. Just for me, Aunt May should have been older. That's all. I'm not knocking her.
Yes, you are.
Okay, but isn't it true that even in the comic books, I mean, she was a grandmother type. She was already 55.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, you kind of mess up. I understand that they probably wanted to be young and energetic and vibrant, but that's not the way the character should be. It was supposed to be a grandmother type because, in a way, Spider-Man is like Luke Skywalker. So if you recast Uncle Owen and Aunt Peru in their 30s, that just throws the whole thing off.
But who says that Aunt May can't be like a young, energetic aunt?
She could be energetic, but I mean, the thing is, she was always gray hair. I mean, unless somehow they're going to say in the next movie that she just colored her hair gray for some reason.
Yeah, she was
in the
always
comic book. She was always a grandmother type. Sorry, Lee.
Yeah, she was always a white-haired old lady doing the housework and always not finding out who Peter really was. She always came close, but she never found out who he was.
Yeah, but well, at the
Yes,
end,
we
of
know.
the movie, they
We
find
know. Yes, yeah, we know that. So we'll go to favourite moments or things you didn't like. Well, go on then, Brian. What was your favourite bits you didn't like?
Oh, you're going to me.
Well, why not? Why not?
Okay.
Right, time's up. On to the next person.
No. How dare you? Well, I can't really see anything wrong that I don't really like about this film. I mean, other than the fact that they killed Shocker off, but you said they got a new one, so I thought that was the only one Shocker, and I didn't know there was another. But favorite moments, I would have to say, my favorite moments is probably when I think the yacht scene when Spider-Man was trying to stop Vulture on the boat, and he goes up all his henchmen and him and Vulture and everything, and then Iron Man arrives to save his ass from doing messing up all the chaos on the boat. I guess another favorite moment is when he activates the whole gadgets and everything within the suit, like when the suit gets activated and you have like the voice within the suit and all the gadgets and gizmos and all going off and everything.
It's even got a kill mode. How can?
Yeah,
the Punisher would like that.
That's not really supposed to be Spider-Man. That was a little disturbing.
Or Batman interrogation mode.
Oh yeah, the interrogation mode was cool. The elevator scene, like where he goes to save the people within the elevator and goes over the helicopter and goes right into the building and everything. I thought that was cool. So, and the very towards the end, like where he goes up against Vulture again, fighting him on like the plane in the air and eventually go down on the ground and everything. I thought that was cool. So I believe those. Actually, there's one more. The reveal of MJ, because it turned out that the goofy, weird girl Michelle within the competition and within the school, everything turned out to be MJ, which is a new twist to the character MJ. So I thought that was neat.
Well, it is a new twist, yeah. Didn't see that one coming. Let's go to. Is it worth asking Daniel if he had any favourite moments in this? Daniel,
I hated the whole movie. No, I had no favorite moments.
thank you for your input, though. It's welcome every time, Daniel. Let's move on to. I won't ask Kevin because he just got up off his chair. So I will. We'll go to Craig. What's your favourite moments or bits you didn't like, or just fill it?
I liked the bit on the boat was my favourite bit when Iron Man came. But my only gripe was in that scene at the end when he's going up the Centaur. When I was watching the cinema, I know he's going really high, and at one point I was like, okay, he's really high, and now he's going to go on the helicopter. He's getting higher and higher. But I think maybe as I think I'm getting greedy, like as a superhero fan watching these films, because I was just wanting something more to happen, and it didn't happen. And all he did was jump from the helicopter into the lift shaft, basically. And I was just left feeling like, I wanted something else to happen. But I think it's just me being greedy.
I mean, and that was the highest he'd ever been up till then. He was a bit dizzy up there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can see where you're coming from there, though. Yeah, if you've built your expectations up, and you think something's going to happen when he gets to the top, then no, is that it? I can
Yeah.
understand that. Stephen, any particular moments for you?
I like the one where Stan Lee sticks his head out of the window.
Good old Stanley.
I can't remember what he said, but it was funny that. But I did like that bit. I
I
like
think he was talking across the street to the other woman in the window, wasn't he? Yeah.
yeah. The other bit I liked is on the ship, when Iron Man comes and saves the day. The dislikes I had on it is, please don't put any love crap in this movie. I hate films have been ruined. I've seen, and somebody falls in love ruins the all movie. Then for me, I'm glad they cut that crap out of it.
Well, maybe in the sequel it's going to go down that route.
Oh
You
no,
know,
I won't be watching it.
I mean, after that, they did introduce MJ at the
yeah,
end.
MJ is a love interest for Spidey in the comics. Kevin,
Yes.
where have you been?
Oh,
Did I say you couldn't be excused?
my aunt was here, so she said goodbye.
Was it Aunt May?
No.
Oh.
Anyway, you lucky bastard.
Why? I got a girlfriend. Why should I?
No, we're not going down the love route.
No.
Kevin, any
Alex, yeah, I see your eyebrows. Well, I love the yacht scene with Iron Man calling and Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man, no, nothing, band practice. All right, bye. And then I love that moment, and the Vulture fight scene, and the was it the fight the scene when Spider-Man picks up that rock above him, tries to. Yeah, I love that scene. And you saw that half of his mask. I love the practical suit, not that Spider-Man, Tony Stark suit. But at the end, we got the Infinity War suit. So,
so that's
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was going to actually ask, like, there's a specific name for that suit. Does anybody
I don't know. Iron Spider.
Iron Spider. That's it. The Iron Spider suit. Yeah.
There you go.
I like how they were.
Okay, we'll move on to.
Those are my favorite moments.
Oh,
and the ending with MJ and Captain America. No,
that was bullshit.
Yeah. With with and May at the end. What the beep? And I love the music. And the ending, me and my brother were laughing our asses off when Captain America came on screen.
That was a waste of an end credits scene. I hated that.
I will.
Oh well. Anyway, Brian, shush. We're going to talk to MJ and our own Peter Parker, Susan, and Alex.
Well, my spider senses tell me that no, oops, I'm MJ or whatever. Here, you talk.
Yeah, like I said, they probably wanted to concentrate more on the action. I think they probably wanted to do more of an Iron Man, James Bond-ish type of Spider-Man. The spider suit was good. It was funny that was Jennifer Connelly as the voice. And that's another actor that's been around since the 80s. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting sort of scenes. I don't know. It seemed like they were... it's kind of funny in a way. I don't know if Lee realized this, but in the Civil War, Spider-Man also mentioned The Empire Strikes Back, which is kind of funny. And I think maybe that's what they were trying to do here. I think maybe they were trying to do an Empire Strikes Back that it was more action. It wasn't dwelling on, all the relationships. You had a little bit of Aunt May, so that you knew that they were related. You had, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, and it's kind of interesting how, as they said in another video, they didn't really say with great power comes great responsibility, because that was Uncle Ben's line, and he's not in this movie. But that was another interesting question as to whether they'll show it a flashback and who that might be, considering the changing and casting. The Vulture was good. Michael Keaton was good, as I mentioned before. The schoolmates, I'm not exactly sure. I don't really agree with MJ being multiracial. I know the actress is good, so I'm not blaming the actress, but I don't think MJ should be multiracial. I don't know if they're going to make Gwen Stacy Asian by this casting that they've been doing. But those are the two love interests for Spider-Man. He had another two people, I think, but I can't remember their names right now. As I said, they already had the Asian friend. So, I mean, I understand that it's 2017, not 1962 when the comic came out. What was it, 1962? And, no. Spider-Man was 62, right?
52 or 42. I don't know.
No, I think it was.
Way back.
No.
Stanley and
Well, but
Kirby and Jack Kirby.
well, I think it was in the 60s, because Batman and Superman, that was the 40s and earlier, actually. Yeah, so I did have favorite moments. Like I said, it was a change on the movies. We can't even touch on. I think they were trying to have more of the comics and more of the cartoons that they had in the 80s or 90s, which was more based on what the suit could do and his stunts and strategies and all that. Yeah, two of the cartoons had emotional, connections, but I think they wanted this to be fun. I don't think they wanted to bog it down with a lot of subtext.
By the way, it was August 1962, the first comic Spider-Man.
Oh. All right, I stand corrected, or I sit corrected. But it was Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, though. Yeah. For crying out loud. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, like Alex said, I really liked the action, but I was not impressed with the characterizations, except for his best friend was perfect. I mean, he was geeky and hilarious, and he would have fit in right with us, and he got so excited when he found out Spider-Man was his best friend. That was brilliant. To have reveals like that and have it be really kind of heartwarming is great. And so yeah, I enjoyed it. And anyway, that's my bit.
That's your bit. Susan, I'm going to prove you wrong now. It was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko.
Oh my gosh, I even got that wrong. Ah!
Oh!
I have been out-geeked on every level today.
Boom! Anyways, my Google's brilliant. But for me, I loved it from beginning to end. I was so taken aback with this because it was a breath of fresh air on the Spider-Man movies. The comedies are comedy bits are all in the right place, because that's what Spider-Man was about. Everything goes wrong for Spider-Man in the comics, and it did in this movie at the wrong time, as we say. At the crucial times, it all went wrong. And Michael Keaton as the Vulture, for me, just made the movie as well. Especially as Alex has pointed out, where he's taking them to the homecoming party, where he's in the car and he's looking at Peter in the back of the seat in the rear view mirror. He's realizing who he is. You can see it in his face. And then when he confronts him in the car, it's intense, but it's not over the top, as Alex said. That is good acting. You can feel the hatred coming from Michael Keaton towards Peter Parker there, but brilliantly done. All the action scenes are in this movie are brilliantly done. The effects are brilliantly done. I'm glad they didn't go over the top with the Iron Man parts. The Iron Man, the Iron Man ones was cameo. Iron Man was brilliant. If they'd added more Iron Man into this movie, I think it would have spoiled it. I think they just got it right for the Iron Man appearances. It's as it says at the end of it, Spider-Man will return. So they've planned all these movies out for years to come. Hopefully Tom Holland will remain as Spider-Man, because I think he's a brilliant Spider-Man. And he's British. He's not American. He's British. Yes, Brian, he's British.
Yeah, I knew that. And can I just add one more thing before you actually sign off and wrap this up?
Yeah, go on then.
I just wanted to add, in the movie at the end, and when I saw it in theaters and on Blu-ray here, I'm still shocked to see Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, because there was a few articles like about a year or two ago saying that she's done with the Marvel films and everything. So I'm a bit shocked that she's back as Pepper Potts. And I'm wondering,
that was it. It was a surprise appearance. It was a surprise appearance. Everybody was surprised to see a pop up, just even if it was for maybe 3 minutes in the movie.
Is she back now though? Because she said that she'd be leaving.
Well, you'll have to watch the next Marvel movie when that comes out. You never know.
All right.
Because you don't know who's going to be in whatever. Which one's next? Is it?
Well, right now it's Thor. Thor just came out, so it's the next one.
So, but I like the Marvel movies because you never know who's going to pop up in them, and it's quite a surprise every time. And Marvel have got it right with this. They do the movies far better than DC do. DC do far better TV than Marvel, in my opinion. But you can't have it everywhere. So we're going to wrap up now, and we're going to do a final say and scores. So we'll go to Daniel first. Let's get this over with. Daniel, what's your final say and score, if there is any?
This movie sucks. I give it a 0 out of 0.
Oh, jeez.
0 out of 10. This movie sucks.
Yes, he loves the movie. Kevin, pull yourself together, lad. What's your final say and score, Kevin?
All right. I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. What a brilliant acting, and I hope that Spider-Man is coming over the next 10 years to Marvel Cinematic Universe.
With those moving eyes as well. Yes, Kevin, especially your eyebrows. Let's go to Craig.
I'll give this film 9 TARDISes out of 10.
Yes, he's giving it 9 TARDISes out of 10. And if you watch Marvel movies and you don't know what a TARDIS is, Google it. Stephen, what would you say? What's your final say and score?
It was a bit overlong, but I'd give it about 8.5 out of 10.
Thanks for that, Steve. Yeah, it is a long. I'll admit it is a long film. 2 hours 15 minutes is long. For if you was a young kid going to see this, would they sit through all the way through this without fidgeting and wanting to go and do something else?
You'd have to have more bags of sweets to sit through it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but it's well worth watching.
That's all the pop and all that.
It's 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Well, I wasn't that far off when I said 2 hours 15 minutes, did I? Well, what's 2 minutes between friends? Jeez. Anyway, Brian, what you're saying then?
Oh, my turn?
Well, if you don't want to go, I'll move on to the others. If you don't want to say
I'll do my goal.
Go on,
I
then.
would probably give this Spider-Man film a 10 out of 10 webs, because this movie rocks. Awesome. This is the way Spider-Man should be. A teenage kid in high school, the high school years, Spider-Man. This is the way the Spider-Man should be. Nothing more. Now, it's awesome.
But you do know, maybe in the third sequel, he's most probably going to leave school and work for the Daily Bugle.
Well, yeah,
So
I know that. I know that, but this is this is how it should start out, at least.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, true. And we'll go to Susan and Alex. You're muted, by the way. Thanks.
Yeah, like I said, I mostly like this movie. I appreciate that they want to do more energy, keep him a teenager. They've already done the college student thing in the movies. They've already done the college student thing in the TV show. They've done both in the cartoons, and I think that's probably what they need to work on next is, how are they going to have him be sort of a teenager but beginning an adult without doing all the subplot. I think they've already done that. Sorry that I forgot Tom Holland was British, but yeah, I mean, Andrew Garfield was British too. It's just also the way that they took the direction of the movies, and hopefully, as long as they don't do any more super young casting or super mixed race casting, it just doesn't work for MJ. I'm not willing to really accept it. And I know that's irony intended. But if they keep it more strategy and action and good villains, I think that's what Spider-Man really is about. It's not about, Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy and all the emotional stuff like they did with Maguire. I think they need to keep it to like the first Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and Homecoming, and what he did in Civil War. You have to keep the character fun. You have to keep it action-packed. Keep the angst to a minimum, and just keep it fast-moving, because that's basically what you want. That's just like in the cartoons. You want to see him swinging around. You don't want to see a lot of subtext and angst and all that. You want to see action. You don't want to see soap opera stuff. And I think that's probably,
Yeah, well, it goes about any superhero movie is the movies are about the villains, really. It's you got to have good villains to make the superhero good. And Spider-Man and Batman have the best villains in the comic book history.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. It's true.
So I'll give it as far as the pacing and the story, I'll give it an 8. As far as the cast, if it wasn't for 5 really good cast members, it wouldn't even get a 7, but they have some really good cast. I do think they're trying to make it too modern, but obviously they don't want to lose the audience like they did with Maguire, the third movie, and Garfield. Unfortunately, the script was just terrible in both movies, so I think they're trying to correct it and have a more action-packed, fun movie.
All right. I'll give it the whole movie overall. I'll give it. Let's see. I'll give it a 7.5. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy MJ being so young, or excuse me, Aunt May being so young. And I disagree with Alex about MJ being multiracial or whatever, or any of the other things, because that doesn't matter as much as their character. What matters is that she doesn't trap Spider-Man in sort of an emotional. So that's just the interesting thing is is that will he be able to, grow up and be cool, as well as being and as well as being part of the Avengers. I mean, he's going to be added into all of their stories, and so that's just that's got to be seamless, or it's a wash. Anyway, that's me.
Thanks for that, Susan. And for me, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a very good movie. I'm not a big fan of Iron Man, so that's a downside. I'm glad they say it shortened it with the Iron Man appearances. Tom Holland, brilliant. He just got it right, and Michael Keaton stole the show for me. So I'm giving it a 9. Just a few niggles here and there, but it is a good movie to watch. It's everybody, apart from Daniel, of course, enjoyed it. But hey, you can't win everyone, can you? So without further ado, you guys here, thanks for turning up. Thanks for talking utter rubbish for, I don't know, maybe 50 minutes or so. But it's appreciated, because we talk geekiness, until it comes out of our ears. And I hope you out there who will watch this like what we do. And if you do, please comment below. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Hey, we're easy. And in the comments, if you want to talk about the movie, leave a comment there. Or if you want to talk about one of the members of the cast, tell us what you really think of Brian. Yes, that's what we thought as well.
What?
Exactly, Brian. But also, you'll find us on Twitter at Geeks Assembled. We're on Tumblr. We've got our public Facebook group. So if you want to be on the cast, get in touch, because we just have a fun time, and we get on with most of each other, well, apart from Brian. No, I'm only kidding, Brian. We don't hate you. Well, some of us don't. Oh, I'm only joking. I'm pulling your leg.
It wouldn't be a cast without you, though. So you gotta keep up with us, man. Keep up with us.
And I've got to warn you now, Susan's on medication. She didn't really mean any of that. So,
You son of a bitch.
So until next time, we're going to have to go because I'm losing it. So until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
You've done it again.